Eric, typically games like this are withstanding the other team's best early punch instead of throwing the first two, three, four punches. What does it say about your team that they can come out against a desperate opponent and make this kind of statement?
That was a solid, mature, professional approach. There's a lot of pent up stuff here, and we're getting closer. But we still have to finish this off. But certainly the approach, and you could tell by just the morning session how much it means to everybody. But then you have to prove it and do it on the wood. And they did. Boston did come out, and but we were able to get the game on our terms and sustain it. Even through some of the runs in the first half and early in the third quarter.
They sent more doubles at Jimmy today. What did you like about the way you guys handled that and maybe generate open looks off that?
Yeah, there was one turnover in the first half, but look, we've been dealing with this, for a little bit, not just in the postseason, but there were a handful of key games going down the stretch where teams were committed to try to take the ball out of his hands, and so that gave us some things to work on, during the regular season, and then we handled it much better after that one turnover. We just got a little bit more organized. The spacing was much better. And then the plays out of the trap, guys were assertive on the catch. But again, if we didn't have those 5 games during the regular season, where we came in the next day and we're really working on it, watching film on it, just getting all on the same page about it, that it could be different by the time we get to the postseason. And then last series, obviously it was New York. They were pretty committed to that, so at least it was at the front of our mind.
Eric, when you talk about the pent-up stuff you just referred to, is that still residual from the regular season? Is that just because you're so close to getting to where you want to go? Is it?
You can probably, you can probably fill in the blanks from that, but we have respect, deep respect, for Boston, and everything that we went through previously, and some of the emotions are coming out, but I like that, and then we're just going to direct us and keep on focusing on the task at hand, and we'll decompress tomorrow, but we'll really get our minds right to finish this thing off.
You've been very consistent since March, saying how much you liked the direction the offense was taking. And even if the threes felt like make or miss, what have you liked so much about the offense in the postseason?
Well, I like the just the work, during the last 3 months of the season. I mean, it really was all season long, but the intention of coming in after really frustrating losses, watching film, working at it, being intentional, getting on the same page, over-communicating it. This is not working, this is working. Let's get to what's working more. And everybody just pouring into that process. Those are gratifying experiences, particularly when, you're losing games and you're getting criticized for it. But you're still able to just come together and try to get it right. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you fall prey to the criticism and it can go sideways. But this group showed, a resilience to try to get it right. And some of those tough lessons, during the regular season where we were losing games because of that, we were getting better from that.
How important has Gabe's pull-up shooting been, specifically during this playoff run, between the step-back threes coming off the screen?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not just the pull-up. It's just his assertiveness and aggressiveness and reading the game. I thought he had as much of an impact and put his fingerprints on the win in Game 2 as he did tonight. One of the games he had 4 points. Another game he had 29. And he has that emotional stability to, he sees guys like Jimmy and Bam, who are the perfect role models, coming in as a young player, that it's about impacting winning. And sometimes it's about constantly making the right play and doing it on both ends of the court. That's tough to do as a young player because so much is celebrated just about that last number on the box score. But we do need, since, Tyler and Vic are out, we do need Gabe scoring. Or we need his, I don't want to say that, we need his assertiveness, we need his aggressiveness, we need him putting his eyes on the rim and then making the right play. And everybody wants him to do that. The same thing with Caleb. We want those guys every single time down the floor to be aggressive. It can't just be Jimmy and Bam. Now, they're doing, the big muscle work, but you need a lot of guys contributing. And we all love that Nambi version. I've seen that one. And there will be times where we do need that one. When he's Nambi, he can be special too.
You've talked over the years about the Duncan Bam handoff connection, but just seeing what it's evolved into with the back cutting, with the lob to Bam today, with all the different things they're able to do, just what have you seen it evolve into from that original handoff hub?
Yeah, it's like 5 years of just Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour rule. This is 10,000 hours of drilling with those two guys a long time ago, forever. And initially it was all dribble handoffs, that kind of trigger. Then we really needed Bam to be also scorer. Then we needed Duncan to be able to put the ball on the floor, do all the back cut and all that stuff, and then try to connect that and get everybody synergistic. And that takes some time, when both guys are trying to develop new parts of their game. But this is the constant evolution of two guys trying to get it right. And knowing that there has to be improvement in that two-man action. But when both guys are a threat and both guys can just read the defense and both guys are not just predetermining, that's when it's at its best.
Well, you talked so much recently about how important the regular season was and how important playing in all those close games were to get you all to this point. But why is nobody surprised that you all have been able to maintain the level you have in the postseason?
Not sure, and we don't really care. If people don't really want to pay attention to what happened in the regular season, we're not going to make excuses for it. We just had to deal with a lot this year, and I think that beauty in the struggle of not making excuses for it, not collapsing your spirit, because it got tough. There's nothing easy about it, and there can be a beauty in that. You can get better from that. But we never felt that we were far off from where we were last year. So it is what it is. But this has been one of the most interesting and gratifying regular seasons. I'm not talking about the postseasons, but just to be able to go through that struggle together. And come out of it with a group that was pure of intention, and then trying to get better, and then see it play out in the playoffs. That's ultimately what you would love a regular season to do for you.
Yes, well, you mentioned it can't just be Jimmy and Bam. How gratifying is it to see in a game this important that it was Caleb and Gabe and Duncan stepping up the way they did, when in the game that you knew that it was going to be very important?
Yeah, and Jimmy and Bam are both fueling that. They're just infusing those guys with confidence. In all the moments of truth, Jimmy is going to put his will on the game. And that's what everybody wants from him. And the same thing goes for Bam. The beauty of that relationship is they both know at this point how special and unique that partnership is. As a head coach, I love seeing that. They both see it in each other. But then they also know that they have to impact everybody else on the roster. And we talk about it all the time. You want to breathe life into other guys and ultimately enjoy someone else's success. But that takes great emotional stability. You know, there's a lot of pressure and voices and noise, you know, coming at you from a lot of different ways. But those guys get it. You know, and you're seeing, you know, some of the role players, you know, really grow and be able to expand their games. That only happens if your star players really want that.
Erik, how's Kevin's ankle?
Yeah, we'll find out. He says he's fine. He was a little bit like, you know, scared about it. He said he probably could have gone in the second half, but he just wanted to reevaluate it. We're up 15, and I was like, all right, let's just make sure we know what's going on. That's where I'm going right now, you know, is to meet with the trainers and just find out exactly what it is. I don't even know if it's his ankle, you know, at this point. He was just, you know how he is. He's a tough veteran guy. Like he said he was fine. So we'll see tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Joe, the biggest game of the season, a game you had to have, and you guys just looked completely lost after the first 6 minutes. What exactly happened out there?
I just didn't have him ready to play.
Over the last 48 hours?
Yeah, I just didn't have him ready to play. I should have, whatever it was, whether it was the starting lineup, whether it was an adjustment, I have to get them in a better place, ready to play, and that's on me.
Joe, you've always been very level whenever things are going well, going poorly. At some point tonight, did you just really let them have it and show all the emotion that you have? And at this moment, do you feel like you need to show that to save the season?
I think the most important thing is just sticking together, and then I have to be better. I got to put them in better positions. I got to get them ready to play. You know, I have to have the game plan ready for us to be physical and to execute, and you know, it's important that we stick together.
Joe, Jaylen's talked about struggling to attack the mismatches in this series, and you know, 0 for 7 from 3 tonight. What are you just seeing from his game offensively now that, you know, for him to break out of the struggles he's in?
I think just continue to take what the defense gives him, whether it's the threes. I thought he got really good looks, whether it's getting out in transition and just reading our spacing and making the right play.
Joe, in the third quarter particularly, you guys got down to 12 at one point. They came back with a run, and it seemed like there wasn't much fight after that. How disappointing was it in your eyes, just from like the effort standpoint at that point in the game when things weren't going your guys' way, it seemed like?
Yeah, it's on me to be better for them so that they play harder.
Joe, I'm sorry, you keep saying it's on you, but can you be more specific? Was it the speech making? Was it the
Yeah,
plays?
I just didn't have them ready to play. I just didn't have execute the proper game plan. I didn't put them in the right mentality to be ready. And, you know, it's my job to make sure that they're connected and that they're ready to play, and I didn't do that.
So in the privacy of your locker room, were you too loud, not loud enough? I'm just looking for some...
I don't know. At the time, you think you say what needs to be said, but at the same time, I just have to be better. I got to make sure when we step on that floor that we're ready to execute, we're ready to be physical, we're ready to play harder than the other team. That's my job.
Joe, you said after game 2 it was mental. Obviously that took place, or after game, that took place tonight. Why are you guys getting demoralized by the fact that they're hitting shots? It seems like everything you do, they have a counter for. Is that just demoralizing your guys on the floor that they seem like they're trying everything and nothing is working?
Yeah, I think it starts with, like, we got to defend, we have to get stops, we have to execute. And yes, when you do not execute on the defensive end and they make shots, then it affects the way you play offense. So we just have to put our identity into our, defensive execution first.
Joe, this seems to be a continuation of the regular season where teams that have been below you in the standings, you guys have had some struggles against that. Is this an issue of just bad habits from the regular season showing themselves at the worst time?
I think it's regardless of the roster. We're playing against a great team. We're a great team, and right now, they have the mentality, and we don't. And we have to get that back.
Joe, the offense, it seemed like if you were in half court, you guys would run an action, maybe 1-2, and get to the first shot you could find. This team at its best has always shown the patience to keep moving the ball, have actual motion to eventually open something up. We saw Miami did that. Why do you think you weren't able to do that tonight and really for a lot of the series?
Just not creating an advantage fast enough in the shot clock to help us get to that.
Joe, as far as some of the defensive breakdowns go, Caleb Martin shooting 50% from three in the series. It feels like he's getting left open a lot of the time on the weak side. What's leading to that?
In game one, he did. We changed the matchup in game 2 and 3 to where we have a smaller guy on him, looking to make sure that he doesn't do that. But, at times, if you want to double Butler or if you get put 2 on the ball with a shooter, he ends up being the guy that you shift off of. So we just have to be more disciplined in our, the first level of our defense to where we don't have those breakdowns.
You guys have been one of the best defensive teams for the last couple of years, last few years really. Has some of that been lost? And tonight, what went into the Heat having so much success against your
I couldn't hear the second part of
And
it.
tonight, what went into the Heat having so much success against your defense?
Yeah, I think some of that defensive identity has been lost, and we have to get that back. And that's where, part of that is on me to make sure we get that back.
Joe, besides your responsibility, any of the star players, they also have some responsibility. What can they do in order to get the team ready to play?
No, it starts with me. I have to be better.
Kind of along those lines, Joe, like whenever these guys are up here, they take ownership, and especially when things are going wrong, they say, hey, we're the ones shooting the ball, we're the ones playing defense, this is on us, this isn't our coach. Do you kind of want them to take that ownership, and is that something you can even translate onto the court?
I think they're doing everything they can to be in position. We just have to be better.
Joe, Tatum and Brown were held to 12 of 35 shooting tonight. How tough have the Heat and their defense, their defensive principles made it on them to, be effective for you guys?
Yeah, we don't get out in the first 6 seconds and create an advantage, and we don't get those. It makes it difficult to play against a set defense later in the shot clock, and that's kind of where we're having to struggle, is we're not dictating the pace with those early offensive advantages.
You said you thought the defensive identity has been lost. When did that happen? What have you seen that shows you that the defensive identity is gone right now?
Just these last couple games. I think just the execution. We're not connected. Usually at our best, we're connected, we're together, we're physical on the defensive end, and we don't have that right now.
Joe, I don't want to say if you lost this team, but is there a disconnect between you and the players at this point? Is there something not quite working that might have worked in February or January that you're not telling them to lose by 28 points, but you're telling them to try? So is there a disconnect?
Yeah, that's where I have to be better, is figure out what this team needs to make sure that they're connected, they're physical, and they're together by the time we step on the floor.
What do you think caused that disconnect?
Not sure.
What do you do over the next 2 days to try to get all of this, as you said, to get this back to where you need it to be after what obviously is a pretty demoralizing loss going into what could be the last game of the season?
Yeah, the most important thing is how can we get our defensive identity? How can we get just a clear understanding of what it looks like on an offensive end, and just keep it as simple as we can so that we're connected and we're physical, and we play with the right mindset and we play together. Thank you.
How we doing?
How we doing?
How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
How obviously when a team loses 2 at home, you knew they were going to get their best shot, and it didn't look like there was much of a shot from them. How rewarding is it, and are you guys in any way surprised that this one played out the way it did?
I don't know if surprise is the word. I mean, we played well tonight. We defended, we made shots, we forced them into turnovers, and it was just great to be home. I think we rode the momentum of our crowd as well.
Gabe, when it comes to just the dialogue that you and Spo have as a coach and player off the court and just obviously during the game, can you, in a short time, describe some of that a bit?
I mean, well, in shorthand, a lot of it is basketball related, whether it's where we're trying to get the ball, what set we're going to run. If he sees something he wants me to do, or even just share with somebody else. If Bam can't hear him down the court, he needs me to tell Bam something. So I just try to be a voice for him on the court. If there's something that he needs me to relay, and we just go from there.
Gabe, you had a lot of success with your pull-up shooting tonight. When you're coming off the pick and roll and the big is in the drop, Spo mentioned how he kind of needs you to be assertive looking at the rim. What is your decision-making process in that situation in terms of, I'm going to go for the shot or I'm going to get my teammates involved? How does that work for you typically?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, a lot of it's just the flow of the game. If there's another guy that has a hot hand, maybe we'll try to manipulate the pick and roll some way to find him. But my teammates tell me time and time again to come off the pick and roll and be aggressive and then make reads from there. So when they're giving me that confidence and I see a couple go in, I'll definitely continue to be aggressive.
Gabe, Spoelstra has been consistent throughout the regular season, even when shots weren't falling team-wide, that you guys were building something on offense. What was the process like of building even through the failures of the regular season, and how has the offense kind of set you up for success in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the process was painful at times and rewarding at others. But definitely right now it's rewarding. It's paid off. We've put in a lot of work. It's been a long season, and we're just playing good basketball at the best time.
Spo mentioned you having Jimmy Butler and Bam as kind of role models when you entered the league. Is there anything specific that you've been able to take away from them and maybe even involve in your game on the court, maybe more of off the court kind of thing? Is there anything specific that you could speak to about what you've taken away from those guys?
I wouldn't say anything too specific, but their approach. I think their approach to the game, the way they compete. We've seen them both when they get in their mode. And how they find ways to continue to stay in it or to get back into it night in and night out. Watching them up close in my first year in the bubble, seeing the way they competed during that run was huge for me. It was motivation for me. It's just inspiring to see them go out there and go that hard every night. And now playing, I know how exhausted they were. And doing it time and time again, it's inspiring, and they'll continue to lead us, and we'll continue to follow.
You got to the Heat as more of a two guard, and they kind of developed your point guard skills. How much of the circumstances, injuries, kind of brought out more of that scoring ability and kind of asked, for you to score more and play that role?
Yeah, I mean, you never know when or where opportunity will come. All you could do is try to be ready for it, and whether it was work in the dark or film. Just trying to stay prepared, knowing that there was other facets of my game that I may not have been able to show at this level based on the opportunity provided. And when it was, I just tried to take advantage and most importantly, help my team win.
Gabe, you've gone through a lot of tough matchups throughout this playoffs, having to guard certain guards on each of these teams. I guess just how much easier is it to make it for you when Jimmy and Bam always seem to be like helpers for you? One of them is always to be fully helping over. I guess what's the trust level and make that easy for you defensively?
Yeah, I mean, well, Jimmy and Bam are when they're off the ball, they're great defensively, especially the way they can lurk and get in passing lanes or meet a guy when he gets to the rim. And but the way we defend is all five. It's not just those two guys helping me. It's Max as a shrink out the corner, or Duncan rotating, or Kyle tell me there's a screen off the ball, and or Caleb coming and doubling. We got a number of guys that are just competing at a high level. Talking, running around, scrambling. So, we're playing great, but definitely Bam and Jimmy lead the way with that. No question about it.
Hey, Gabe, I remember speaking with you during media day, and the first thing you talked about was the disappointing way last season ended. Mm-hmm. And you talked about that being a driving force for you. Is that something we could use to explain this incredible playoff run?
You could. I'm sure you guys will at some point, but we want to win. Our goal has never changed. Ups and downs, year in, year out, the Miami Heat are trying to compete for a title, and this year is no different.
Yeah, Gabe, Spo mentioned that, hey, Gabe had a big game tonight, but we felt like he was just as impactful in game 2 with only 4 points, and he kind of phrased it as emotional stability, being able to stay committed, regardless of what your stat line or your shots look like. What's key for you to maintain that emotional stability, regardless if you're taking, making shots, whatever, finding a way to still be impactful?
Yeah, I think it's just important for me to just be where my feet are and just be as present as possible. Whether it's a bad first half or a turnover, just having the next play mentality and just focus on how can I win the next possession? How can I help my team win this next possession or this next play? And just continue to find ways to just help my team.
To win the favorites to win the series and now one step to make the finals. What is the mentality for the next game, the next game?
The next game, the mentality is to come out, compete at a high level, defend, try to make the right read every time offensively and just play good basketball. It's the first of 4 games. We're not satisfied with 3. It's great to be at home, and we're looking forward to playing in front of our fans again. Appreciate you guys.
Al, in your opinion, what went wrong here? And second part of my question is,
Joe Mazzulla says that you guys have lost your defensive identity. Do you agree with that? What's your response to that?
Yeah. Definitely, we let their runs affect us early on, I feel like. And, we had some just bad turnovers early on that really hurt us. As far as the defense goes, for whatever reason, we have lost it. Not doing as good a job as we can. So, the challenge is this year that we've been able to bounce back and figure it out. And, our backs are against the wall now, so that's something that we have to do.
Al, you guys have come through in those moments, and this game felt like a must-win. What was different about tonight?
I obviously expected more from our group, and we just didn't have it like we needed to. They got going. They hit some tough shots, and that's the way it goes sometimes. But in the past, we haven't let that affect us, and I feel like today it did.
Al, the coach said that he didn't have the team enough ready to play. Do you feel like the star players and veterans have some responsibility, and what could they do, or have they tried to do to get the team ready?
No. Coach is saying that he's being generous, but at the end of the day, that falls on each player. We know what we have to do. We knew the magnitude of this game, and as a player, I take responsibility because we didn't have what we needed to have. So that's what that is.
Al, it seemed like you guys were demoralized out there, discouraged. Some people would say quit. What happened out there? Is there a disconnect with this team? Is there just something not right? It might have been right a few months ago, and are you sensing that you guys are kind of just cracking?
I think we're just having some adversity. I think it's tough. It's gotten tough for us. We've dealt with adversity all year, and right now, I personally felt that before the game, we had the right mindset, and sometimes you want something so bad, and things just don't go as you plan. But it was tougher for us tonight. There's no question about it. But this is a part of our journey right now, and right now we're in a low, and rightfully so. We're being counted out because we haven't been able to respond. But we're not out yet. It is 3-0. I know what it looks like. I think I saw it the other day, 0-149 or something like that. So, but we're not out yet. We're still kicking. One of four teams, they're still kicking.
Acabas de mencionar las estadísticas, obviamente no las favorece a ustedes, pero ¿qué se tiene que hacer para cambiar, para regresar este martes y para poder ponerse en la pizarra, conseguir la primera victoria?
Reenfocarnos, tenemos que reenfocarnos, saber quiénes somos. Nosotros, en mis ojos, fuimos el mejor equipo en la liga todo el año, el equipo más constante, y tenemos un equipo bueno, bastante bueno, y lamentablemente estamos pasando por un poco de adversidad, y yo sé que ahora mismo nadie quiere escuchar eso y quizás ya dan la serie por terminada, pero los juegos hay que jugarlos, y ahora el reto para nosotros es prepararnos para el martes, poner esta atrás y prepararnos para el martes.
Al, you had a passionate speech during a timeout. I want to say it was when the league got to 18 before halftime. What was some of the things that you told your team and after the fact, just now in the locker room? Anything you said about this loss? Anything related to what you were just saying right now?
After the game, it's just hard to talk and say. There's a lot of emotions, different things going on. But the biggest thing for our group is for us to remain together. And through good or bad, we're a group that we stay together. that's been the key to our success here. And right now it's not looking so great, but that's my message to the group.
Al, saludos, Juan Carlos Guerrero para Hispanic Sports Media. El año pasado el equipo de los Celtics hizo mucho contraste con el de este año. Tú eres un jugador con mucha experiencia y mucha capacidad analítica y entendimiento del juego. ¿Qué crees que es lo que está sucediendo? ¿En qué están fallando? ¿Por qué hace tanto contraste el equipo de este año con el del año pasado? Gracias.
Sí, buena pregunta. La realidad es que somos dos equipos diferentes, pero este año, y hemos tenido un buen año, pero hay que darle crédito a Miami también. Ellos están jugando muy bien, están haciendo las cosas, jugando con buen ritmo, tienen un plan muy definido y ellos han podido ejecutar un poco mejor que nosotros. Y nosotros hemos jugado los primeros dos partidos, siento que los jugamos bien. Obvio, hoy se nos salió de las manos. Jugar en las rutas es un poco diferente. Pero el reto para nosotros es reenfocarnos y tenemos una oportunidad de salir el martes y extender la serie.
Al, at one point you guys cut the lead down to 12 in that third quarter and they came right back with a big run, and it seemed like after that the effort kind of waned a little bit team-wise. Do you feel like just the frustration kind of built up for you guys at this point? And was it tough to just see that happen in a game of this magnitude where, things seem to build up on you guys?
Yeah, that definitely was tough because, I felt like at that moment, our offense hurt our defense. We weren't hitting shots, and then we weren't getting back on defense, and we have to understand that our DNA, our core as a team is on the defensive end. That's who we are, and that's something that we have to find if we want to come back and win this series.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Jaylen, you guys have always taken pride in being a prideful team, but it seemed like there was some quit out there tonight. What happened, and when did the disconnection happen? It just seems like you guys are not on the same page chemistry-wise with the coach, schemes, all the above.
I don't even know where to start. It's obvious letdown. I feel like we let our fan base, organization down. We let ourselves down, and it was collective. We can point fingers, but in reality, it was just embarrassing.
Jaylen, Joe Mazzulla says that you guys lost your defensive identity. Do you agree with that? And if so, where do you think that started? Where that disconnect started?
I'm not sure. Give credit to the Miami Heat, man. Those guys are playing unbelievable right now. And we just seemed to couldn't get stops. Those guys are hitting shots and playing well, playing with confidence, and we allowed them to have that.
Jaylen, what will it take from you and Tatum and even a veteran like Al to get the team ready? What can you say or do on and off the court to get them ready for Game 4?
We just got to come out and play basketball. Come out with a great mentality. Come out and have some pride about yourself. Come out and have some pride about, who you playing for. Have some pride about whatever. And just come out and play basketball. I believe we can win the next one. So we just got to come out and play.
Jaylen, when you guys have had defensive success in the past, everyone's been able to just go make the play and trust that the person behind them is going to continue to fill the chain. So do you feel like you guys have kind of lost that trust and that confidence that it's going to be whatever you do, someone behind you is going to help you do the job?
Our defense hasn't been, especially what it was last year, but we've had tremendous strides in different directions, and we've been able to, find ways to win basketball games. I don't think that was the issue here. Yeah, we struggled to get stops, but to their credit, they playing well above their means. They balling right now, and I gotta give them respect. Gabe Vincent, Martin, Strus, Duncan Robinson, guys that we should be able to keep under control are playing their ass off.
You had a play earlier in the game where there was some sort of action brewing. It wasn't really working, so you just turned and fired like a 35-footer. And it just seemed throughout the game that you guys would just kind of take the first shot that could come to you. So what do you think is missing that allowed you guys, especially earlier in the year, to be able to turn a defense and create open looks?
I think last year, last year is over. I don't know. We just couldn't get stops tonight.
Jaylen, with us, Joe kind of put the loss on himself. He said he didn't have you guys ready to play. What's your response to hearing that?
I think it's a collective effort.
Jaylen, are you guys thinking too much, feeling too much pressure, putting too much pressure on yourselves?
I don't think so. I think we've been here before. I don't know.
You guys have often been at your best when your backs are against the walls and you're fighting off elimination or whatever. Tonight, why did you think that slipped away?
I'm not sure. I think Miami played extremely well. They made shots. We didn't make shots. That put pressure on us. And it was just tough after that. They're coming out. They were together. They physical. They set the tone. And we didn't match the energy. And it was a complete letdown, to be frank.
Jaylen, starting with Ime's dismissal and all of what you've been through this season as a team, is this kind of thing mentally just coming to a head, or you see the ending and it just seems like you guys are kind of just maybe throwing in the towel or just don't quite have the energy to finish this run?
I don't think so. I would hope not. That's not what I'm about. I'm going to fight to the end. So we're going to try to get our guys ready for the next game. And we come out and we put our best foot forward. And at the end of the day, that's what we got to do. And that's just how I see it. Series isn't over yet. It's looking bad, but, you come out, have some pride about yourself, and put your best foot forward.
Bam, I know you guys always believe you can win any game, no matter what the situation is. But in 11-3 or whatever you guys are in the postseason, and to win this game by 30 or whatever it was, are you surprising yourself a little bit, on any level, with just how some of this has gone, or how different the story seems to have shifted from what you guys went through the first 6 months of the year?
No, we just needed the ups and downs prepared us for these moments. They prepared us for, going 11-3 in the postseason. Still having a great opportunity to go further in this playoff run. So for us, it's not shocking because y'all not around, but y'all don't see the work that a lot of guys put in, and it's speaking volume right now in this postseason. So for us, I don't believe it's a surprise or a shocker.
How important has Gabe's scoring ability and just aggression been during this playoff run?
I mean, Gabe's been Mr. Reliable, and it's not just scoring. Y'all see the scoring, but I see him being in the right spots, making the right pass, communicating on defense, taking charges, and he's doing the little things, and then obviously he can score the basketball too.
Hey, Bam. Spo mentioned during his post-game remarks that a lot of the pent-up, built-up emotion that you guys have is starting to come out. And then it was asked, like, well, is that from the regular season? I'm wondering if that stretches all the way back to last year and last conference finals, if that's the emotion that we're talking about.
I mean, being number one in the conference and you lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, it does sting, but I think the grit and the motivation and the aggression that we play with has just been through this up and down season. That experience has built us for these moments, and we'll all expressing ourselves throughout the playoffs.
Spo said after last Eastern Conference Finals that there were some changes he wanted to make to the offense. And all year long, even though the shots weren't always falling, he said, you guys are building towards something. Now the offense is obviously clicking on an entirely different level, but what role has Spo played in building the offense up to this point?
One thing about it, Spo always believed in all of us. I feel like that's the biggest thing. Day in, day out, he always fueled us. He always came in there with a positive mindset and, wanting us to win. So for us, it's great to have a coach like that who believes in everybody, 1 through 15.
Did he maybe believe in the offense at times when you guys didn't?
I don't think we didn't believe. I just think shots weren't falling. So, sticking to the strip and, not veering away from that and being consistent day in, day out, shots going or not, staying the course and trying to be consistent.
Bam, you mentioned a couple times in the last week that nobody's surprised by what you guys are doing. If somebody started following and watching your games in the last couple of weeks or so since this postseason and said, well, what the hell happened? What would you tell them?
Man, when you got guys with backs against the wall, almost out of the playoffs, lose the first playing game, then you win the second one, and then you just build off of that. We get in the playoffs, all right, let's start chipping away. And it's believing, believing in one another, believing that we can get a win, believing that we can beat, the number one team in the league. When belief is real, and we got a will to win.
Bam, I know it didn't matter tonight because you didn't play the fourth, but I think early in the series, you've been holding players at 24% shooting, I think, in the fourth quarter this playoffs. I guess just what is it about, the fourth quarter defensively, things tighten down, and just what changes, compared to the rest of the game?
I feel like the fourth quarter is, when everything matters the most, and not discrediting the first three quarters, but when you get in that fourth quarter and everybody's rallied around each other in that huddle, and it's win the quarter, win the game. A lot of us take that to heart. I know I do, especially. So for us, it's win the quarter, win the game, even if it's by half a point.
Bam, could you take us through that spin move that you had on Jaylen Brown, and I guess just how much your explosive lob plays also electrified the crowd tonight?
Just out there playing basketball, being free, having fun. Coach wants me to be aggressive. They want the ball in my hands, so out there making plays.
Any thoughts on how the role players really stepped up tonight? Gabe career game and kind of the unheralded players like Duncan, Max, and Caleb.
They're in the flow right now. They're finding out ways to score, getting easy baskets, seeing the ball go in, and behind the scenes they're putting in all all the work you can imagine.
Bam, they made a lineup change. I know they started the second half of game 3 like that, but, they said ahead of time today they were going to do it. Right? How did you guys react to just seeing that they started differently?
I mean, knowing when they made their lineup switch, they're going to try to play faster. So biggest thing for us was getting back in transition, loading to the ball, and making them take difficult shots, trying to keep them in the half court instead of in transition.
All right, we'll take one from Zoom. Christos Saltis, go ahead.
Hey, Bam, congrats on the win. Now, one win away from the NBA Finals. How big was that? How big is that for you, reflecting on what happened, everything that you've been through this season, and what you need to do in Game 4 to finish the job?
Finish the job, win. That's bottom line. But through all these ups and downs, good and bad of the season, I feel like the biggest thing that we all really relied on was each other and staying together. Black Lives Matter, people.
Caleb, you've always been, even going back to last year, your confidence has never really been in question. But after the year you guys have had collectively, just where has the confidence we've seen for the last 5 weeks come from?
I don't know. I think, like you said, it's kind of always been there. We just the regular season has been a roller coaster. So I think the fact that we got our foot in the door in the playoffs, and I think we take our chances with any team that has to beat us 4 times. I think that's what it is, and I think that we just understand that all the way down the line from Spo all the way down to the last guy on the bench, that we believe in each other and we're a connected group, and that we'll find ways to win games.
Caleb, teams that kind of go up 2-0, it could be natural to maybe ease off a little bit and let the Celtics maybe get one here. What was the mindset for you guys coming into this one, and what does 3-0 mean to you guys?
To me personally, I think I could speak for everybody in the locker room, but we understand that it's not done. Like I was saying, it's not first to 3, it's first to 4. So crazy things happen, crazier things has happened, and we're gonna understand the history of that team. It's a winning organization, and they're gonna come out and try to grab a game and go back to Boston. So we got to do everything in our power to understand it's going to be the toughest game yet, and try to close out at home.
Caleb, so many of you guys are playing well around Bam and Jimmy. What do you feel like you guys have proved as far as the depth of this team during this playoff run?
I think it's just a lot of credit to those 2 guys who just get everybody involved. They could easily take every shot if they wanted to right now. With guys down, guys like Tyler that are out, who typically take those shots. That just shows the belief they have in us, and that just asking where the confidence comes from is a lot of it stems from those 2 guys too. Just believing in us, getting us open looks, and believing that we'll knock them down whether we make or miss. They continue to make the right plays, and so it's hard not to gain confidence, gain rhythm, and want to make those shots for those guys.
Caleb, beyond just the shooting for everybody, even when the offense wasn't going great this season, what do you think you guys have built in terms of the way the offense actually runs that has set all of you up for success, really,
Yeah.
postseason?
I think, there's a lot of different moving parts. You got, Duncan was in and out, all year. You got Kyle that was starting out. He's come off the bench. There's a lot of different moving pieces. I just think the willingness for everybody to fit in, no matter where they're coming off the bench, starting, whatever it is, whether you're playing, whether you're not. It's really impressive all the way down the line for, some people, being in some lineups and moving around and shifting a lot. And you got Duncan who wasn't playing for a while, and he comes in. He's been a huge, in this postseason for us. It goes all the way down the line, man. I just think that, like I said, it's just the willingness of guys to accept whatever, it is that they need to do in order for us to move the needle. And I think that's been big for us. I think that we've gained that connectivity throughout the season and prepared us for these moments.
Caleb, you've talked a lot this season about the way you've attacked closeouts, attacking the front foot and all that stuff. But what makes it, I guess, different with this series, the way you're doing it? Because obviously there's different matchups.
Yeah, I just think it's probably based off personnel and, space on the court. I understand I'm going to have some of the bigger guys on me.
but they're going to be coming off help side and, off Jimmy, sometimes doubles. And, I'm just trying to be aggressive and, take some weight off those guys, but, just also be myself. And when I'm, like we said, when we're confident and we go all the way down the line, a lot of guys are capable of a lot of things. So, it's only going to be beneficial when we're all aggressive and assertive like that.
Caleb, was this game the perfect example of Heat culture? You, Gabe, Duncan, all stepping up as the top players of the game.
Yeah, I think. I think most importantly, I think it was the fact how we handled, being up 2-0 right now and then playing at home. I think that we, naturally sometimes you let off the gas because you're at home. You try to rely on the crowd to win the game for you and scoring bunches, feeding off the environment. But I think that we made a point coming in with the right approach and mentality that they were going to come in and give everything they had and just weather whatever storm they had coming. So we're just going to have to stay with the same mindset in Game 4.
Going back to last year's conference finals, the Heat went through a period of about 10 months of frustration and disappointments. And I know you're not quite done with this series yet, but is there something that is the most gratifying about the playoff success that you're enjoying now?
I just think that we got the matchup we wanted. We got to see the team who took us out last year, and you just get there's nothing like a second crack at it. So I think that we're just trying to take advantage of that, and we're playing with like we have something to prove, and we're just a bunch of guys with a chip on our shoulder, so we just want to continue to prove that.
Tatum and Brown were two of the top scorers in the league all year. What have y'all done, especially in these last two games, just to be effective against them defensively?
I just think that, we're just playing really hard, trying to be in the right spots, trying to do everything we can to make it tough on those guys. Like you said, they're two of the best scorers in the league. They're bound to score the ball and make things tough on us regardless of what coverage they see. But I think that we've just been, being balled in on the defensive end and having each other's backs and believing in the game plan that Spo puts in front of us. So I think the biggest thing is just being on the same page.
Hi. So Heat's impressive journey has get a lot of attention and support recently. How do you plan to handle the increased expectation that come with such surge attention? Will it be a pressure?
Yeah. To me personally, I think that I think the best thing you could do is kind of just put it in the rear view. I mean, that comes with it. That type of stuff comes with it. There's going to be opinions, expectations, whatever it is. I think we're playing for each other in that locker room, and I think that cancels out all the pressures. We believe in each other. We love playing with each other, and we're flowing and playing great, and we're just having fun more than anything. So I think that kind of cancels out all the pressure because we're not worried about what everybody else is saying. We're just worried about each other in the locker room.
Caleb, I know the series isn't over yet, but as an 8th seed, what does it feel like for you guys to be able to do this to the two teams that were considered the favorites coming into this playoffs, and what does it feel like to be able to pull that off?
I mean, it feels good. I mean, like you said, that's part of, it feels good, obviously because we're AC, but at the same time, we put ourselves in that position. But, we're not playing to prove nobody wrong. We playing to win a championship. Like, that's been the goal all season. It's not like we're just trying to beat teams and, so we can talk trash after we beat somebody or whatever. Like, we know we're capable. We expected this team in this group to get to where we're at right now and continue to go further, and we're going to continue to play like that and find ways to get to a place that we all were bought in and to want to get to at the beginning of the season this summer. So we're playing for each other. Yep. Appreciate y'all.
All right, everybody, that is going to conclude tonight's availability. Thank you.
Is there anything about the Miami Heat team that has surprised you during this series? And as the best player on the team, what can you do on and off the court to get the team ready and change the momentum of the series?
Yeah, I think just as tough as it is, as tonight was, we just got to try to move on. Prepare, get ready, practice, film, and stuff for tomorrow. And obviously we're in a tough position, but we just gotta have some pride, bounce back, and just be better come Tuesday.
Jayson, it appeared like you guys gave up in the third quarter once they made that big run. And what happened out there emotionally? Are you guys disconnected? Is there something going on in the locker room or something that you're sensing that's slipping away? Because it did seem like you guys let go of the rope tonight.
Yeah, tonight was tough. I think from the beginning of the game, we was turning the ball over. We didn't shoot the ball well. They shot the ball extremely well. And just kind of felt like we never recovered, honestly. And that's on all of us as a unit. We didn't play well at all. And, obviously by the score, it showed.
Jayson, you and Jaylen combined to shoot 12 of 35 from the field. The team shot 40% from the field. How tough have the Heat and their defensive principles made it on you guys, in a game like this with your backs on the wall?
Yeah, I didn't shoot the ball well at all tonight. But I think we got some open looks. Coming off the pick and roll, getting doubled. Hitting over the top, playing 4-on-3. We just didn't shoot the ball well at all. We couldn't hit anything. Give them credit. They're a really good defensive team. They play hard. They communicate. But we had a lot of open looks tonight that we normally make.
Jayson, it seems like they've just been playing at a different speed than you guys the first three games. Have you guys maybe underestimated how much effort they were going to put forth and how well they were going to play?
I don't think so. We're familiar with this team. We've played them third time now in the playoffs. We know how hard they play and the pace that they move. The first two games, we've had double-digit leads. We played well for most of it. We've just had, a couple minutes here and there where, it really hurt us. Obviously tonight we didn't play well at all. But I don't think, surprised by the pace that they play at.
Jayson, do you guys think you can make history and come back and win this series? How confident you are?
Yeah, we better be, right? But we know it's tough. We're not looking down the road. We're just looking to get ready to bounce back and play better come Tuesday. Try to get a win.
Jayson, it seemed like rear and left, the officiating kind of bothered you guys at points. The obviously you guys missed a lot of shots in the game, but when the effort kind of went away for you guys in the third quarter, how surprising was that from your standpoint in a game of this magnitude that you guys kind of let go of the rope like that?
Yeah, just being transparent is unfortunate. We obviously wanted to come out, perform better, play better, have a different outcome, or at least give ourselves a chance. And it's tough. For whatever reason, we didn't have it tonight. And this point of the season, you don't want to say that. But that's on us. We as a unit, we didn't play well.
Jayson, the truth is the season is not over yet, but the mentality for the game 4, maybe another plan.
Yeah, definitely play better than we did tonight. And have some pride, obviously. And believe that we just got to win on Tuesday. That's just the message, the mentality that we have is get a win on Tuesday. We'll figure the rest out from there.
Jayson, you guys have obviously been good in these situations throughout, even your time here, like the kind of backs against the wall, not being rattled by road games. Where do you think things kind of went south in this one? And did you see any signs of it? Did this feel any different even coming into it?
Coming into it, no. And, it's two sides of this. They played well tonight. They came out the gates firing. They shot the ball extremely well from the field and from the three. We didn't, and just kind of like a snowball effect. And, normally we respond. When, teams go on a run, we respond. But, tonight, shots weren't falling, and I think we let that affect us a little too much, honestly.
Joe said he thought that some of your defensive identity has been lost. Where have you seen the slippage in that, and why haven't you guys been able to rely on the defense that really carried you to the finals last season?
Yeah, I think we just gotta be connected more. I think, 5 guys all on the same page, competing at the same level, talking, and just, being there for one another, right? Every possession is not perfect. You're going to get beat, mistakes happen, but we just have to do a better job of, being there for one another, having each other's back, and just being a little bit more connected on defense.
Jayson, the narrative over the next 48 hours will be that you guys quit and you guys are not the team that people thought you were and that you're not the star, Jayson, all of that. How do you ignore that over the next 2 days and try to focus on winning a game after such a poor performance?
I deleted Twitter from my phone to start the playoffs, so honestly, I haven't seen anything good, bad, or indifferent, since game 1 against the Hawks. So, I'm certain after every game you win, you're the best player and the best team, and when you lose, you're not the star and the team's not good enough. So I'm certain there'll be some of that, but out of sight, out of mind. You don't see it because that's not what's important. What's important is the guys in the locker room, teammates, coaches, and we all in this together, just trying to figure it out.